All right, we're gonna try this again. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Um, yeah, I love Thursdays, guys. I love being here on Thursdays with you guys. For those of us that try to keep our weekends. It's Friday Eve, right? So we got today and tomorrow. Then we're done for the week. Get to enjoy the weekend. Yeah, I'm gonna jump right in because what I've learned from some of your guys' feedback is most of you guys watch on replay, and so you don't need the beginning, bantering to let everybody get time to log in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Let's see. So if you're new here, if you don't know who I am Bree Beers. I have been an accountant for 20 or so years. I own Bree Beers and Accountant, or no, I don't. I own Bree Beers and Associates. We are in our 7th year in business, and that is a tax preparation and planning firm. And we specialize in small business and complex individual tax return preparation. I'm also the founder of Peak Prosperity CFO. Over there, we empower owners of 7-figure businesses to boost their annual compensation by $100,000 by providing profit-centered thought leadership. In other words, we work with 7-figure business owners who are feeling stuck and wanting more work-life balance and more money in their personal bank account. We help them get over that little plateau. So if this is your first time joining us, this is part 2 of our wealth series. So 2 videos ago, I introduced my wealth model, W.E.A.L.T.H, my wealth model. And this is the model that we use with all of our CFO clients. It's the foundation of what we do for our clients to help them get more money in their pockets and to help them find that work-life balance. It works with any size business. So you guys, I know we work with 7-figure businesses at Peak Prosperity, but this wealth model works with any size business, any industry. So definitely a tool that you definitely want to look into and use. There is a link up or down, depending on where you're watching this, called Measure Your Motivation. It's a free workbook that helps walk you through the W, which was last week's part, is what's your motivation. And so download that because today does build off of that. And if this is your first time joining us, if you're watching this on replay, I suggest you go back and start with the intro, and definitely start with what's your motivation from last week, because today builds off of that. All right, to summarize last week, what's your motivation? What we dug into was your personal goals. What are your personal goals, dreams, hopes, and aspirations? Because those, your personal goals, okay, what we need to do is figure out how much it costs to fund those. Right? What's that dollar amount that you need to fund your personal hopes, dreams, aspirations, and goals? And then we feed that into your business. All right. So if that's like, hey, that sounds interesting, I need to do that, go back and watch the last part, the W, what's your motivation? And download the Measure Your Motivation workbook. All right. So today is evaluate your business goals. So here, you guys, we all have gone through, whether you're here now or maybe you've gotten past this, but we all have these struggles of setting meaningful business goals. All right. Some of us aren't setting goals at all. I've been there, I've done that, right? I'm just winging it. I'm like, I did that for a few years, and then I would just set these arbitrary goals of like, I want to hit $1 million, or, I want X amount of clients. I'd hit but they were just numbers that sounded good to me. Right? They were these numbers. I was just like, yeah, that sounds like success. Let's do that. Right? And that's how a lot of us set our business goals if we are setting them. Right? If we're even setting business goals, they're just numbers that sound successful to us. All right. The next, a little farther down the path, is we're setting goals that have a meaning. But what is that meaning? All right. So if you are, let me fix this light because I can see it in my glasses reflection and it's annoying me. Okay. So if you're setting goals, right, and each year maybe you're adjusting them, a lot of times these goals we're setting them based on industry standards, we're basing them on market standards, right? We are setting, so for example, what we might be saying is, so first step is, are we even setting business goals? Some of us, we aren't even setting them. So the first step is to start setting business goals, right? So the next step is, okay, we're setting these business goals based on just these numbers, right? Like we've heard $1 million is successful. Or maybe we want a certain profit margin, but what's what is driving those goals? Nothing really, just what sounds good, right? So the next part is maybe we have someone advising us because, money and finance and all this stuff is not our forte. And they're, looking at their financials or our financials, they're, looking at the balance sheet and the P&L and the cash flow. And then they're setting goals based on what they see, based on trends they see in our business, based on industry trends, based on industry standards, based on market trends and market standards. So when it comes to that, sometimes we're like, okay, we want to increase revenue by X%, or we want to increase profit by certain dollars or certain percentages. All right. And it's like, but what does that mean? It still comes down to like, what does that increase mean to me? All right. And a lot of times there's this disconnect between our business goals and our aspirations. All right. So it's like, okay, great. A 10% increase means we have more cash, right? Or it means, okay, we have more money to spend in the business. But there's the why is missing a lot. All right. And so many times we have these business goals and we're looking at our financials, our balance sheet, our P&L, and they're just numbers on paper, right? It's just like, okay, great. We want a 10% margin increase. Cool. So, but there's no soul to those goals, right? And there's no connection between your business goals and what you truly want in life, right? And the other piece of that is so many businesses. I don't have a stat, and I'll make one up. I'll be like 90%, but a large number of businesses create revenue goals. All right, revenue goals, revenue targets. And that's great, and we're going to circle back around to like why revenue isn't necessarily the main marker you want to be looking at, and it's definitely not the only thing you want to be looking at, right? Plus, like when you create a revenue target, what does that do for you personally? How does that fulfill you, right? Other than saying, okay, great, I set a goal and I met it, right? So many of us are out there. That's just a common tale. We set these goals that just have no connection to us, that do not fulfill us, do not drive us. And even if we hit them, we're like, cool. The fulfillment we get is out of hitting the goal, but there's no additional drive to hit those goals that we've set in the business. All right. Same thing. I started off, like I was like raising my hand, me too, right? The moment I started my business, a lot of things went on, but the very first goal I ever set was I want to build $1 million empire. That was my goal. But what did that mean to me, right? It just sounded cool. $1 million sounded cool. Multi-million sounded cool. I was following a lot of multi-million dollar entrepreneurs who had built these empires. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. They're so successful. That looks awesome. But I didn't connect it to what that meant to me to build a multi-million dollar empire. All right. So I didn't set personal take-home goals, right? I wasn't like, okay, well, when I hit $1 million, when the business hits $1 million in revenue, another goal I have is I want to take home $100,000 or whatever it is, right? There, you have to have a personal take-home goal, right? Because if all you're doing is running a business to pay your employees, to pay for your expenses, you're paying for this revolving just for the business, right? There's no connection to you, right? To what you want. And so that first part of setting the personal take-home goals, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I didn't do it, right? I didn't set any personal take-home goals. I was just like, I want to hit $1 million, right? I also didn't set goals about working less. And the thing about all those multi-million dollar empire, gurus that I was following is they were working their asses off. All right. They were working so much. And that was not what I wanted to do. Like I'm all about, grinding and hustling in spurts, right? We know there's seasons, right? But if I look at a whole year, I don't want to look at a whole year of hustling and grinding and killing myself, right? I want to see little chunks where I had to do it, but overall, I want to chill. I want to be working like 30 hours a week and I want to be hanging out with my family, hanging out with my kids, taking care of myself, all the things. I want to make sure I have time for that. I'm not going to have time for that if I'm grinding all the time. All right. So I didn't set those goals around working less, right? Which was a goal of mine, but I didn't set any goals to get there, right? I didn't set anything that said, okay, I'm only working 30 hours a week while I'm building this multi-million-dollar empire, which those clash. All right. So what I'm saying is my multi-million-dollar arbitrary goal was disconnected from my personal goals. Thus, I was missing that personal connection to each of the business goals that I set for 7+ years. All right, so how did I change? How did I flip from setting these arbitrary and oftentimes unattainable goals to actually setting purpose-driven goals, right? So that's what I did. The first thing I did was introduce purpose-driven goal setting into my business. And this purpose-driven goal setting is also what we do with our clients. All right, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about shifting our mindset from revenue to profit. And we did that in our business as well. And then I realized, and this is again where the W, circles back around to the W, what's your motivation? I realized that my net profit goals, when I set the goals, there always had to be a net profit goal. And we'll talk about why that is. And that net profit goal had to be enough to cover the cost of my personal hopes and dreams. All right, because whether you're an S corp and you are taking a salary, or you're, a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, the money you're able to take home from your business comes from profit. All right. In the end, it comes from your profits. You have to make a profit to take money home and put it in your own bank account. Okay. You just do. All right. So I like that accounting for 20 years, and it just now dawned on me that my net profit goals had to be enough to cover my personal hopes and dreams. And the reason for that disconnect for so long, you guys, is first, I was in financial accounting in a big corporation. Right. So I was a little piece of this huge company's, financial system. Right. So I was just focused. I wasn't focused on the big picture. Right. I wasn't focused on our end goal is net profit. Right. And then I was in tax, and tax is all about saving money. Like that's where our goal is. Right. It's like paying less taxes. We don't really focus on, is your business, like, how's your business doing? How's your business performance? All right. So despite having 20+ years of accounting experience, this was the first time that it dawned on me like that. I mean, I always knew there was that connection between business owner and business, right? I mean, especially in tax, how intertwined those are. But when it came to actually taking money home and how do I take more money home? It's like, duh, you got to make more profits. Got to make more profit to take more money home. All right. So some of the things along these same lines that our clients have done, right? So one of my clients was their personal goal at the beginning of the year was to buy a house. And so at the beginning of the year, we did their personal budget, right? That's the W part. We figured out how much their monthly take home had to increase because their house payment was going to go up. Plus, we had to figure out how much money they were going to have to take out of the business for the down payment, because their down payment wasn't in their personal. It had to come from the business. So from the beginning of the year, we figured those numbers out, right? So we figured that personal side out, and we backfilled it kind of into the business. So let's use some numbers to kind of give this example. So we started at the beginning of the year. They're like, okay, we're buying a new house this summer. We're like, okay, we figured out how much. So their new house they needed to take home an additional $1,500 a month, because that's how much the mortgage was going to go up. Okay. $1,500 a month. So we knew we had to increase their net profit starting in June to make sure they were bringing home at least $1,500 more a month, right? So we had to increase their net profit goals by $1,500. The other piece is that they had to come up. They had some money in savings, but what they were kind of already doing the numbers, and we set a goal of $50,000 for a down payment, of which they had about 20. So we needed to have $30,000 that they were going to be able to take out of the business by June-ish. That was their goal. $30,000 to take out of the business without, hurting the business's cash flow. All right. So we had to adjust the profit goals just a smidge. They had a nice chunk of cash in their business, so we were able to take some of that out without increasing profits, but that's beyond the scope of what we're doing today. But the point is, we took those personal goals, right? That personal, this is how much money we have to take home. And we put it into their business budget as their end goal, right? Our net profit needs to be this much. And then we work backwards at setting their business goals for the year. All right, that's one of my favorite stories. So, old way of thinking, you guys, is really, it was like revenue, revenue, revenue. All right. And if you were setting business goals, it was all about revenue. And it was also all about just setting, it was about setting goals, right? If you set business goals and you were making money, you were good. But what we're trying to shift, that mindset we're trying to shift is to create meaningful, purpose-driven goals, right? Making sure that every dollar in your business is making steps towards your personal happiness. All right? Because we get some fulfillment from our business just by helping people, right? No matter what you're doing, you are serving someone, right? You are, you don't have to be a net profit to be serving someone. If you're a tax business, you are serving people by preparing their taxes. If you're in a product-based business, you are serving people by making products for them, right? And so there is a satisfaction to providing people with our goods or services, right? That is there. But that only goes so far into fulfilling our happiness, right? And it's a big chunk. Like, we want to make people happy, we want to help people, and that's great. But if we're losing money or not making money doing it, it becomes hard, right? It becomes really hard. We start to kind of, we begin to resent our business a little bit. So we have to make sure that our business is also funding and supporting our personal goals. All right. So our satisfaction from our business can come from serving others and supporting our own personal goals. All right. So let's jump into the details. All right. So I want to start with, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, why can't your business goals be arbitrary or cookie cutter? Right? Why can't we just say, oh, well, people in my industry, they look for a 10% revenue increase year over year, right? Well, first of all, every business is different. All right. All businesses are different. And we all make our money differently. We all spend our money differently. And we kind of touched on the reason they can't be arbitrary, they can't be cookie cutter, is because there's no connection between you and your goals when they won't mean something to you. All right. Your goals, your business goals, have to tie to your personal goals in some way, shape, or form. All right. In order to make them meaningful to you as the business owner. All right. We have talked about this in previous lives if you've been around with me, but if you're new, I am going to drill it into your head that profit is more important than revenue. All right. Profit before revenue. And here's why. Here's an example that my friend W.E.A.L.T.H has given for years, and I like it because I think it illustrates very clearly. All right. I can today go out and make $10,000. All right. I can make $10,000 probably in the next couple hours. And how I can, in revenue, and how I can do that is I can go buy $12,000 worth of gift cards in $100 increments, right? And I can sell each of them for 80. Is my math right? I usually have this in front of me. Let me back up. I can go reverse. I can go out and make $8,000. Math without calculators is hard, guys. Let me go back to $8,000 because I know my math will be right here. I can go out and make $8,000 in the next hour. All right. And how I can do that is I can go buy $10,000 worth of gift cards. I can buy $100 gift cards. Yep. And I can go sell each of those $100 gift cards for $80. And I will sell them so fast, right? $100 gift card for $80, done, right? And I will have $10,000 in revenue, $8,000 in revenue. I forgot what example I was giving. I will have $8,000 in revenue, right? Because I sold 100 gift cards for $80 each. But I lost $2,000 because I spent 10 grand. All right. So profit before revenue all the time. I always like look at your profits first, set your profit goals first, hit those profit goals first. And when you do, you guys, the revenue will come. The revenue will follow. Revenue is important, but if you're driving your profit, your revenue will come. I promise. All right. And then again, going back to the importance of connecting your business goals to your personal goals, because that connection creates purpose. All right. So if whether or not you've done the measure your motivation worksheet yet, all right, do it. All right. So let's assume you are a model, straight A student, and you did your measure your motivation worksheet last week. And so you know exactly what it costs to fund your lifestyle now. You know exactly what it costs to fund your dream lifestyle that you want to hit as soon as possible. And you know what it's going to cost to hit your long-term lifestyle 10 years down the road. Okay. So you know how much it costs. You also, from this worksheet, know how much you're actually bringing home from your business on an annual basis. And in that worksheet, it tells you how much more, how short you are, or how maybe you're taking home more than you need. But for most of us, we're underfunding ourselves, right? We're underpaying ourselves. So that worksheet's going to tell you, okay, you're bringing home, $1,000 a month from your business, but you need to be bringing home $1,500 a month from your business to hit your current budget. All right. So this measuring your motivation worksheet, this data is your new North Star. Okay. Your personal goals, personal financial goals are your new North Star for your business. All right. And and before I go into this, there are other factors that go into what I'm about to tell you. There's business debt, there's income taxes, but what I'm going to show you is a starting point for creating business goals that support your personal life. All right. So back to my example that we just said, we got to take $500 more a month home, right? To hit our current budget, right? Meaning right now I need $500 more a month. Okay. 500 times that. So it's $6,000 more a year I got to make. All right. For most of us, those numbers are higher. So let's use higher numbers. We do our spreadsheet and we see that our annual take home needs to be $36,000 higher. That's more in line with what most of us are at, right? So we need to increase our monthly take home pay by $3,000. Okay, we've got to bring home an extra $3,000 more than what we are bringing home now. So in the simplest terms, again, I know people are going to be like, what about business debt? What about income taxes? And when you get into the weeds, we account for that. And peak prosperity, like when you hire a CFO, we'll account for that. But I'm trying to teach you the simplest way to do this on your own. All right. So what that can be interpreted as is our business needs to produce $3,000 more profit each month. Okay. Our business needs to produce $3,000 more in profit each month. All right. So then we can plug that into our goals, right? So let's say right now our business is making, let's say our business's profit is, $10,000 a month, but it's going into whatever it's going into. It doesn't matter. We now know we have to increase that by $30,000 to fund our current budget. Okay. So we are going to set our new goals, our new business goals, so that we are hitting $13,000 in profit a month. The $10,000 we were already hitting plus the $3,000 we now need to be taking home each month from draws. All right. So this is where your financial team is going to step in and help. All right. Again, if you've been following me for a while, you know that my belief is that you, as the CEO of your business, you do not need to be taking on more tasks in your business. You need to be doing less. So I am not telling you to go in and do all this analysis and figure out, what do we need to increase? What do we need to decrease? That is not your job. That is not your job. That is your financial team's job. And if you're out there going, well, I don't really have a financial team, you got to figure it out. You got to have somebody on your team to do these things because you cannot wear all the hats forever. And I know there's some of you out there that are, just starting out. Maybe you're you're making 5, maybe low 6 figures a year. And you're like, I can't afford to hire someone. If you're going to scale, guys, you have to start hiring people. All right. So you got to start getting that help. But for those of you, I know most of you out here are a little bit more established, most of you that are watching my videos, and you're kind of at that precipice of 7 figures, or maybe you're already at 7 figures, right? And you're just like, okay, well, I don't need something else to do. I'm not giving you something else to do. I'm moving your financial team something else to do. So that can be, it might be your bookkeeper, it might be your controller, it might be your office manager who's doing your books. I don't know. But whoever is handling your financial, whoever is providing you with the financial information that you need to run your business, that's the person that you need to go and say, hey, we got to increase our profits by $3,000 a month. Let's figure out how to do that. All right. So this is where your financial team steps in. So there's a couple common mistakes, pro tips I've got for you. So the general common mistakes that we've touched on, right? We tend to set these sky high revenue goals without considering net profit. Okay, profit first. Profit, yes. Be profit minded, please. And then I heard this. I think I was listening to a podcast. And they said revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. And again, if you've watched me before, you know that I come in here and we talk about, I want to build a 7-figure business. It doesn't matter if you're not taking money home. Okay, you've got to be taking money home from your business for it to be a success to you as the business owner. All right, so that's a general common mistake, is that we just set these ridiculous revenue goals that don't really mean anything to our bottom line. Some of us also just set arbitrary goals. Okay, and then when you're adjusting your business goals to support your business goals, right? You're making this move that I'm telling you to make today, right? To set business goals with a purpose. You want to make sure you keep it realistic and aligned. All right. Meaning, I want your goals to excite you, but not exhaust you, unless that's the season you're in. If you're in the season of hustle and grind, go for it. But you want your goals to be attainable with whatever work it is you want to put into it. All right. So you can be like, I want to take home an extra $36,000 a month. Well, like, how are you going to do that? And are you, is that realistic? And if it's not realistic, it's not going to be attainable. And if it's not attainable, it's not going to excite you. So make sure your goals excite you. They don't exhaust you. All right. So again, your to-do, what I want you to do right now, if you have not downloaded and completed the Measuring Your Motivation worksheet, I want you to do that first. All right. Complete that worksheet if you have not already. If you have questions, let me know. I think when you get the download, it tells you peakprosperitycfo@gmail.com. Give us your questions. Let us know what you're having trouble with. But download that worksheet and complete it, because this is truly the foundation for transforming your business into one that works for you instead of the other way around. All right. Creating business goals that align and support your personal goals is the foundation for transforming your business into one that works for you instead of the other way around. All right. That said, if you have already completed that worksheet, then your next step is to review your current net profit goals for the business. So that worksheet, right, the Measuring Your Motivation worksheet, does compare your required take home, your personal dreams, hopes, aspiration income, to what you're actually bringing home right now from your business. But now I want you to set a goal, right? A goal that matches that worksheet. Okay. So that your business can start supporting those personal goals. Okay. And if they already do, great, you're setting yourself up for success, but most of us, they are not. So it's time to update those business goals. All right. So if your Measuring Your Motivation worksheet tells you that you need to be taking home an extra $3,000 a month, then your business goals need to align with an extra $3,000 in profit per month. All right. Yeah. So I hope that helps. I hope that's great. I hope that you guys find that informative. So next week, for most of you, it's Thanksgiving. So we won't be here. The following week, I think the training will be on Friday, because I will be traveling on Thursday. So next training will be, I believe, the 8th, Friday, December 8th, probably the same time. I'll double check and post it. And that's going to be adapting your mindset. So that one is all about the mindset behind the financial side of running your business and setting those goals. So I hope you find this helpful. Again, let me know in the comments, email us. Your free download is in the comments, as well as if you want to learn more about Peak Prosperity CFO, that link is there as well. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me today. Oh, and you guys even stayed a little late, so thanks. Bye.